For this story time, grab some tea, chow, because this is how I basically turned down every single grad role, including one to Dubai, for me to start my own real estate business, which now makes, turnover-wise, 6 figures a year. And actually, we did 6 figures in 6 months. So here is that story. Make sure you grab a warm drink or something that you're comfortable with, and I'm going to just get straight into it. Right, well, before you can start any business, I know that you're just gonna go straight into wanting to think about how do I actually make money. The first thing before you can start any business is actually adjusting your mindset. Listen, the Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he. So if your thoughts are incorrect towards wealth, if your thoughts are incorrect towards yourself, the likelihood is that yes, you might be able to make money, but you'll squander it quickly because your mind is not right. And literally, this is very, very common. A lot of people don't actually work on their mindset. And actually, that's the reason why a lot of people don't start. It's not that you don't want a £1 million business. It's not that you don't want a 6-figure business. It's not that you don't want to make 8 figures or whatever. Of course you want that. If someone's going to tell you, oh, do you want to be a millionaire? The answer is yes. But because you don't believe that you can do it, or that you don't believe that that kind of thing is attainable to you, it is very, very easy to just not even put in the work in the first place, because like there's no point in trying something that you don't believe in, like that you don't actually genuinely believe that you can achieve. And it's not because, and you're not even a lazy person. This is one thing that, as I'm speaking to you guys, I'm like picking up things that stop me and various things. It's like, it's not that you're a lazy person. It's actually that you are possibly potentially fearful of success, which is such an interesting fear, that what if it actually goes well. I actually used to have the fear of success, like when it came to singing. So random, but like, girls and boys, I can sing a little bit, but like not properly. But I never really believed, not that I didn't believe I could sing, I was more so not prepared for what would happen when people can actually see that, oh, actually she can sing. Like, I know that sounds so random, but for those of you guys that understand the fear of success, like you'll actually understand what I'm saying. It's like you're just fearful that other people are going to see you succeed, and I don't know why that is. It's demonic, by the way, but like you literally are just fearful of being successful. And of course the other one is just the fear of failure and the fear of being seen, which is the more common one, which is like, what if I do all of this and like I fail? Like, what if I do all of this and people watch me fail? Like, I say I want to start the business, I raise finance, or I speak to people, or I do XYZ, and like it flops, and everyone's going to know me as the person who flopped the business. So in seeing that, we can understand why you're procrastinating, because it's not that you don't want the thing, it's that you're scared of what could happen, and for that reason you're almost stagnating your own progress because you're worried that it's going to fail. Completely normal. However, in order for you to actually start a 6-figure, 7-figure business, you're going to have to get over the fear, and not get over it as in like, oh, I'll just get over it, it's not that deep, but get over it as in like the fear is here. You want to actually jump over that, whether that's the fear of success or the fear of failure. Now, one thing that I did in order to actually say, okay, cool, I wanted to start this business, was a mindset technique, which I'm going to teach you guys now, and I teach this to some of my business students. And that mindset technique is thinking about, okay, what is the better alternative? So think of a scenario. Let's just say, okay, people are going to make fun of me if they see me post online, or that people are going to think that I'm a fat like this, or people are going to think, okay, so let's put that in one camp. People are going to think, okay, because no matter what you do, people are going to have thoughts. People think thoughts, it's just how they are. Like, I'm sure even today you've probably had a negative thought about someone. I don't know, but human beings think thoughts. Cool. Let's just say you're nervous about that. Let's just say there's somebody who follows your Instagram. Let's just say it's a girl that you went to school with, and you're particularly worried, or a boy that you went to school with, you're particularly worried that they're going to see your content and they're going to laugh at you, or they're going to think that, oh, like, there's this phrase right now going around, is like, oh, they're doing too much. Like, oh, have you seen that she's trying to do this now? Like, okay, cool, big shot, cool. Let's say that we're worried about this. So let's retract it. So I didn't start a business because I was worried about what people think. Okay, write that down if you're writing notes. I didn't start a business because I was worried about what other people would think. And if we retract that even more, let's make it more specific. There's a boy on my Instagram feed, not mine personally, God forbid, but just to make this more real. There's a boy on my Instagram feed who I went to secondary school with, and I didn't start that business because when I made a post, I knew that he was going to send it on a group chat with some of our old friends, and they're going to laugh at me. And so yeah, I would have started a 7-figure business and I would have been really successful, and I knew that God called me to do it, and I knew that I was going to have so many doors open for me, and this would have been the thing that would be able to help my family in the future. And I knew that it was open doors for speaking engagements, inspire lots of people. But because of Malik, who is someone I went to school with, because I was so fearful of what he thought, I never started it. And then imagine your grandkids are like to you, oh, so what did you do, grandma? What did you do, like, granddad? Like, what did you do next? So, oh, I just, like, worked. It's like, okay, that's cool. Like, but after what did you do? Oh, I just scrolled on TikTok. Okay, cool. After you scrolled on TikTok, what did you do? Like, did you have any dreams, any plans? Yeah, I wanted to start a business. Oh, cool. Like, I understand that, you know, your friends might have made fun of you, but, like, did you ever get over that fear? Oh, no, I just never did it. Like, actually dialing back and thinking like that, and like the only thing that you should be like typing is God forbid. The only thing you should be thinking, God forbid, at that example that because of one person or because of a group of people, I never achieved what I knew I was called to achieve because I was so fearful about what other people think. So when you dial it back that way, it actually forces you to launch forward, because it's like, actually saying that out loud sounds so silly. Like, I never started what I knew I was called to start because I was so worried about what someone who, in the nicest way possible, no offense, is irrelevant thought of me. I felt so shy or so scared of what a certain group of people would think that I never achieved my dreams, to the extent that my future, so my lineage, my grandchildren are asking me questions about what I did back in the day, and the only thing that I can say is that I scrolled on TikTok and thought about starting a business, and I never started because I was so fearful about the interesting thing is it's even hypothetical. Like, the hypothetical reality that someone might make fun of me, the hypothetical reality that someone might not think I'm good enough, the hypothetical reality that someone might, you know, call me names. Like, guys, we're in 2025 right now. Who on earth, like, is calling people names for actually starting a business? Like, and this is all within the mindset factor, because when I speak to people, that's literally what it is. Like, I'm so scared of being seen. I'm so scared of being seen. But one thing I will tell you about being seen trying is actually inspiring. Like, people are genuinely so inspired by seeing you try. Like, so inspired by seeing you try. Like, watching, like, I get people message me and say, Tinu, because I can see that you're trying in real estate, or not just trying, but succeeding, quote unquote, because I'm even nowhere near where I need to be, right? Because I can see you trying, I feel inspired to try. And I actually feel inspired to, you know, get mentorship so that I can also, you know, do the thing. Like, there is a level of needing to try, because it actually ignites a little fire in everybody around you. Do you see what I mean? It's all in here. Like, the first step to actually earning 6 figures in 6 months, if you really want to know, it starts with mindset. And it's something that I have to regularly tend to. Now, I used to think that, okay, cool, I'll do my mindset once, twice. Actually, it's something that you have to regularly tend to. Like, listening to podcasts that are very, very, very good for mindset. At the minute, I'm really enjoying Diary of a CEO and the Callum Johnson show, where I'm listening to entrepreneurs who have achieved wonders, things that I can dream to see. I'm basically feeding my mind with things that can, you know, got a bountiful harvest, plentiful things that are making me think about, wow, I can actually be successful. Look at this person is successful and they're older than me. This person is successful and they're younger than me. Like, it's all helping my mindset to believe it's possible. And then limiting things in my mindset that will take away from that. So certain conversations, like my friendship group is very, very, very small. And it's not because, oh, I'm just a nasty person or I think I'm all that. It's because I need to, everyone says this phrase, protect your peace, but you need to also protect your vision. And your vision and your mindset are actually very, very similar as well, because if you have poor vision, you will have a poor mindset. If you have a great mindset, it helps you to see. Vision is the long picture. Like, what do you see ahead of time? What is it that you can see almost in the future, almost prophetically? If you do not tend well to your vision, okay, if you don't tend well to your mindset, it is so easy for you to start having negative thoughts, like really negative thoughts, which will eventually stop you from starting the very thing that you are meant to start. Like, I look at some of my favorite brands, like, I'm not to be that person, but my Louis Vuitton bag, as you guys can see, it's even full to the brim. This bag, like, I love Louis Vuitton. Like, I literally love Louis Vuitton. Imagine if the brand didn't start because the owner of the brand was like, oh, I'm worried that Sally from year 9 is going to make fun of me. Or I'm worried that my parents are not going to think I'm good enough. Are you joking me, mate? Like, redial it and think about the bigger picture. Like, sometimes have vision and mindset, but again, you need to be so intentional about your vision and your mindset. Who are you surrounding yourself with? The Bible says that bad company corrupts good morals. But in this present day, can I put forward that our company is who we spend the time most with. And in this present day, most people spend most time on their phone, on their devices, on social media, on TikTok, Instagram, all of the above. So what are you watching? What company are you surrounding yourself with? Is it company that is saying, oh, no, in fact, it's never going to actually outwardly say, oh, you're never going to achieve that, but just certain little things that can make you start doubting yourself of certain things, like the news as well. Most people above a certain age don't own homes. Most people are I don't fit myself in those environments. I don't subscribe. I don't believe that this is my reality. Like, sometimes it's just conversations that are having on talk shows and things like that, where it just makes you feel as though, no, it's not possible for me. And then you count yourself out before you've already began, which makes your procrastination so much worse. So it actually starts here. This is the genesis of actually becoming 6 figures. It's actually your mindset. Like, I have to believe that I am more than, and it's hard, guys, by the way. I'm not going to say, oh yeah, just believe and achieve. Like, it is hard. You have to believe that you are more than capable. Okay, Bible talks about how you can be more than a conqueror. You have to believe that you are more than capable of achieving every single thing that you have set out to achieve. Like, you have to get into a point in your mind where it says in the Bible that as a man thinketh, so is he. You have to get into that point in your mind where you are 100% convinced in your mind that this is your reality, that the thing that you're seeing in vision is your reality. Because when it comes to the things of God, God speaks to a thing that is not as if it were, which means that God can see an earth which is formless and void and speak life and light into it, and it turns into something. Now that reminds me of my next point, which is that there is power in the tongue. I believe it's in Proverbs. It says that there is life and there is death in the power of the tongue. Now, I'm a Bible believing Christian, not perfect, and definitely not a Christian influencer. I'm also a business owner who is also happening to be Christian, okay? But one thing that I will say about that as well, life and death is in the power of the tongue. So not just the company that you're keeping, but what are you speaking over yourself? Is it that every single time you think about your business or you think about your vision, the first thing that you want to do is be like, I can never do that? Like, even things like, if you don't have the money right now, just say, I'm going to get the money shortly. Just prophetically speaking that into what your reality can be, okay? As opposed to, I can't afford it. I just don't have it. I'm never gonna have it. I've always, like, things like that. They create strongholds in your mind, mental strongholds that make you believe that you can never, ever, ever, ever achieve what you have set out to achieve. So these are really important things. Write a list of declarations and declare them over yourself. Again, Bible says life and death is in the power of the tongue. And Job 22:28 says, thou shalt declare a thing and it shall be established unto you. So if you are going to use your mouth, use it accurately. Use it to decree and declare life over your business, life over your venture, because it starts here. And in the next little section, in the next slide, is how I like to call it, I'm actually going to teach you about how you can actually make money. But before any of that, your mindset. I've just spent, 14 minutes, nearly 15 minutes just talking about mindset purely, okay? But I now want to talk to you about the practical aspect, because they come in two. Okay. How do you actually start a 6-figure, 7-figure, 8-figure business? Now, the most important thing is that you are very clear about what industry you are in. Now, I know that there's this thing on social media. Please take this as my opinion. Feel free to do whatever you want. You've got free human will, but I'm just going to tell you from personal experience. I started off wanting to do e-commerce, so Amazon FBA, and property at the same time. However, my brand was confused because I'm talking about e-commerce in one video, then I'm talking about property in one video. So I wanted to do property and Amazon at the same time. I actually shut down my Amazon business because I never used it in the end. I actually picked a side and focused on property, especially on an industry where you actually want to get people to know a little bit of what you do, because social media in business is literally so important. Like people need to know you. People need to know who you are, hence why I'm here on YouTube, so y'all can know who I am, right? But you need to be really, really, really clear about your personal brand. Like, what is it that you do? A lot of times people brand themselves as a multi-business owner a little bit too early, and it really confuses their audience because they haven't actually established anything yet. They're kind of trying to, have you heard that phrase, jack of all trades but master of none? That's the impression that it typically gives. Most women are actually graced to birth one child at a time. Obviously some people birth twins, so this is why I say this is just, there's context to this, like obviously just take it at arm's length, but what I mean by this is birth one thing first and then maybe a few years later have another kid. So birth your first business first, and then after that a couple years later start another business. Okay, so for me that was property. And what you want to do actually in order to become a multi-business owner, and this is what I did to go from 5 figures a year to 6 figures a year in pretty much 6 months. So turnover wise, the business at this moment in time, I'm filming this in March 2025. March is such an interesting month. But anyway, filming this in March 2025, the business makes, last time I checked, around £27,000 turnover every single month, transparently. And I will insert, will I insert? I don't know if I'll insert. But if I insert, I'll insert it here. If I don't, then just ignore, just enjoy my little French tips, okay? Awesome. Now, how did we get to this stage? Now, what you want to do, like I said, is find one thing. So for me, it's property, and I'm going to speak a lot about property throughout this. So I started with rent-to-rent property deal sourcing. Feel free to watch my other videos about that. It's the one about how I went from broke to 6 figures. Yeah, I think that's the one, but I'll explain it briefly now. So property rent-to-rent deal sourcing, aka remote real estate, is where you are working with people who have got the money to get into property, but they do not have the time, potentially because they are in like a corporate 9-to-5 role, meaning that they just don't have the time to like search for investment properties on their behalf. You as a rent-to-rent property deal sourcer are basically on the ground helping them find properties that they can add to their portfolio. So that's essentially what you do. So you're calling agents, landlords, you're basically like a middleman, almost like a personal shopper / virtual assistant, working on their behalf to find them properties that they can essentially take on, if that makes very good sense. Okay, so you are basically asking them to find properties. Okay, not asking them, sorry, you are helping them, that's it, not asking them, helping them to find properties for their portfolio. And every single time that you successfully find them a property, you get paid a £3,000, it's 2025, people are charging like 3.5 now ish, but £3,000 ish sourcing fee, and that's net profit, because again, the thing that you did was use your time. So you're using your time to find them the properties, and in exchange for your service / time, they pay you a £3,000 finder's fee on every property that you successfully find. So that's what I started. I started that whilst I was in university. That was the very first business that I ever started officially, where I was making money. And I did this part-time whilst in university, and I managed to make 5 figures that year, which was literally insane, turnover wise. And I made roughly around the same amount that my friends would have been offered in a first-time grad job, but making that like by myself in my uni dorm room, to the extent that I kind of prayed about getting a grad job. For context, I went to a Russell Group University of Warwick, and like I actually didn't get a grad job in the end. By the way, can we peep the hair? This is not even an ad, but this is Unice hair from the Shein version, and honestly, like, look at the lace. Like, yes, of course you can see it, but look how nice. Like, it's very, I like it a lot. And it's very shiny. I'm even gonna brush my hair a little bit, sorry, in this video, just so that, can you see the shine? So good. Guys, I might be a business owner, but I'm still just a girl, and these are the things I enjoy, hair and wigs. Anyways, cool. So that's what I started in university, and I didn't actually get a grad job in the end. I literally just went pretty much full-time into this. I did have a small part-time job after uni whilst this was building, but I ended up leaving my work pretty not too long after, because I was making more in my deal sourcing business than I was in the part-time 9-to-5 that I had. So that was the business that I started. So let's just call this like the mother hub. I want to write on the whiteboard, but like you guys will see it like backwards, and I don't actually know how to I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it. In fact, I'll figure out how to do it. 2 seconds, I'll be at the whiteboard. Okay, as promised, figured out the whiteboard situation. So I'm now going to talk to you about how you are going to change a 5-figure business into a 6-figure business. So you'll start with your main business. Like I said, pick something and stick to that. Don't confuse your personal brand, especially when you're just beginning. So the thing that I picked, of course, was deal sourcing. So I'm going to write here, deal sourcing. And I believe I've already explained what deal sourcing is, but essentially I'm using my time to find investment properties on behalf of investors. So what I did was I used this as my main business. I'm going to put this as MB for main business. Okay, so deal sourcing being my main business. And from my main business in deal sourcing, I used the same skill sets that I had to start other businesses within the property space. So it's basically changing it from a deca business isn't the word, but a smaller business that does one thing to now branching out and giving my business arms and legs. So for me personally, I started an estate agency. Okay. So I'm using the same skills from my deal sourcing business, which is speaking to landlords and agents and being a middleman or a middlewoman, okay? And I'm using those same skills, but within the estate agency, which stemmed from my deal sourcing business. So the estate agency began in, I think it's, 2024, and that now turns over 5 figures every single month. It turns over 5 figures every single month, and that's mainly the rents coming in. So for this, instead of going to landlords and agents and saying, hey, my business partner and I are looking to take it on, aka, trying to make it a good deal for my investor to take on for deal sourcing, I basically sandwich in the middle of the transaction now and build a residual income. And this is how I've taken one business model and giving it arms and legs to start more things. So with the estate agency, let's say a landlord has a property and I find a landlord who, is open to what we do and open to my estate agency. Let's just say hypothetically, the landlord wants £1,000 a month in rent, okay? £1,000 a month in rent is what the landlord is looking for. But I say to the tenant who I'm advertising it to, and just to be clear, little cheeky plug, my estate agency is 100% company let friendly. So because I started with deal sourcing, which is where you are finding properties on behalf of investors who do company let, it's called company let because their company is renting that property in order for them to run their business, most namely an Airbnb business. My company, which does estate agency, we rent our properties out to people who do Airbnb businesses. So the Airbnb business will pay us a guaranteed rent every single month, and of course we pay the landlord. So that's how we work. And again, I'm taking it from the same skill that I've already kind of got from my deal sourcing business, and I'm now transferring that into my estate. You guys can't see it, but I'm gonna put it a little bit lower. My estate agency business. I'm using the same skills, but I'm making more money. So estate agency. There you go, you can see it. Okay, so let's just say a landlord wants £1,000 a month and they're open to my management structure. We don't actually charge landlords fees at this present day. Okay, this might be subject to change, but at this present day we don't charge landlords any fees. So what we're going to do with that £1,000, when we advertise it to a company let, so someone who wants to do their rent to an Airbnb business, given that it makes sense for the area as well, we might list that property at £1,300. And of course, what do we profit in the difference? £300 a month. And you might think £300 isn't much money, but this is completely passive income, because anyone who knows anything about Airbnb companies, they literally just get on with it. Like, they just pay rent. Like, for all the properties I have, my Airbnb companies, they literally just pay rent every single month and I don't hear from them. And then I do inspections every 3 months to make sure the property's in good conditions. So let's just say I'm making £300 a month passively on that property. Let's just say that I now have 15 or even more than that. Let's start with a nice even number, 10. So I'm adding 1 0, that's 3K a month profit. And most grad jobs are paying people an entry level of 3K a month anyway. But the difference between that and what I have is I've got complete time freedom. And not saying that I make 3K or not, because I've got definitely a lot more than 10 properties. That's for sure. I never tell anyone how much exactly I make, because I've always been told that ain't wisdom, baby. But you know, just so you guys can understand the concept, this is how I went about changing the business to turning over 5 figures a year to 5 figures a month. Yeah, I like that. 5 figures a year to 5 figures a month by making new businesses out of the main business. Now, another example of something that we do at the minute is Airbnb. Right, look how awfully I wrote that. Airbnb management. Okay, so from my skills of deal sourcing, of finding profitable investment opportunities for investors, I actually also picked up the skill, and this is separately to this, so I actually got a bit of training in terms of how to do this. I know how to run an Airbnb. Now, I didn't actually necessarily want to do Airbnb management completely by myself, so I partnered up with someone who professionally does Airbnb management. So every single time I speak to a landlord and they don't want my estate agency, they actually just want to make, you know, a larger amount of profit through Airbnb and have us manage it, we will charge 25% for management. So if the property turns over 5k that month, because when you manage a property you only take from the turnover, we will be making 25% of that every single month. Okay, and it depends on what the bookings we get are, but it's just fun and dynamic. Again, I'm just trying my best to never see the 9 to 5 ever again, because I genuinely believe what is in your hands right now. Business is genuinely pretty simple, and so for that reason, we will just take 25% from that, and we're managing it and adding value to the investor, because they are now getting a passive income from us because we are managing it. So this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. I like how my makeup looks, guys. Okay. And then another arm that we've added to the business is also interior design. So again, the question is, when you want to diversify your business, is what more is in your hands? What more do you have to offer? You always have more to offer. Okay, and I don't think you guys can see interior design, but for deal sourcing, I might have an investor. So I had an investor, she's international. Okay, so she doesn't live in the UK. However, she does have a UK-based business. And what she does, she invests in property in the UK for rent to rent. So she invests in Airbnbs in the UK. But she wanted a hands-off service because she didn't want to actually fly back from, she lives in Europe, but she didn't want to fly back from the place she lives in Europe. I don't want to say that. I'm going to say Paris. Okay, Paris. She didn't want to fly back from Paris just to set up a property when it can be done for her. So instead of charging her a 3k finder's fee, we charged her a 10k fee. And within the 10k, okay, was the fee for actually setting up her property. So we did a bespoke interior design plan. We showed her what materials to get, everything. And we basically took it from a very basic looking house to an amazing Airbnb that looks great and is already getting 4-figure bookings in 3 days. So she literally showed me, hey, someone's actually offered to book my Airbnb for 4 days and they're wanting to pay £1,200, and hers is in Liverpool. So that's quite a high price because we got it to a premium standard. What's more in my hands? The ability to source an excellent, because I didn't even do the interior design myself specifically. I actually hired a team to do it. And again, this is business. You charge high and then you pay other people to do the work that they genuinely enjoy. So you're just becoming a facilitator, almost like a project manager. So that's another thing that we did. And of course, we profited quite a significant chunk of money from doing that. Do you see what I mean? It's all about making offers. Like what more can your mother hub offer? Your mother hub is your main business, deal sourcing. From deal sourcing, started an estate agency. From deal sourcing, started Airbnb management. And from deal sourcing, starting an interior design business. Now, a lot of people who start in deal sourcing first, typically will start their own Airbnb business. So they'll take the money that they get from deal sourcing. So deal sourcing, you get 3k per property. They'll take that, let's just say they do 2 deals that month, that's 6k, and they will invest in a luxury Airbnb themselves, and they will make maybe £150 a night on a property that they're paying £1,000 a month for. Like, are you guys getting what I'm saying? This is how you go about churning something from 5 to 6 figures. Anyway, guys, this is just a little bit of a explanation on the board. I hope this has been abundantly helpful for you. because it has been helpful for me. This is going to be one of my lengthier videos, so pray to God that this is able to upload for you guys. But I hope that makes sense. Obviously I can only speak about property because this is literally what I do and did to like now make 5 figures a month in my business. But you might do Amazon FBA, and then from Amazon FBA you do what's called private label, which is actually a product that you have made and designed yourself. And from that product that you've made and designed yourself, you started up your own e-commerce store, which you're selling that, as well as your Amazon FBA. It's literally all about that. And the most interesting thing about all of these businesses, you don't have to do it yourself. One of the most important and amazing things is a virtual assistant from abroad as well, because they are a lot more affordable, to be honest, as a young business owner, because their like minimum and maximum monthly wage is lower, and so for them, you know, what you're paying them is good for their country and stuff like that. From what I know, I don't know much, but yeah, getting a virtual assistant to help with the Airbnb management, getting a virtual assistant to help with the estate agency, so when people start messaging saying, oh, I'm interested in this house, like, you're not like overwhelming yourself, because you don't go into business to create a job, you go into business to create a business and an income that can actually operate successfully without you physically being there. And that's how I'm able to do this all remotely. This is all part of my remote real estate. I do everything remotely. Right now I'm in Canary Wharf, but I've got properties in Manchester, Liverpool, Durham, Blackpool, so far out. But again, because of how we've systemized it, that's an important thing in business, we're able to do it. But that's all for today, because this is a very long video. But I hope this has helped. I appreciate you for watching this far. If you did watch this far, please put a red heart in the comments. And if you've got any questions, please feel free to put them in the comments as well. Lots of love. Hasta la vista, baby. Bye.